What is ACTI? Can it really help me overcome my insomnia? If you're new to the channel, my name is John. I'm an insomnia coach for people who have tried sleep hygiene, medication, CBTI, and still cannot get better sleep. In this video, I'm going to explain what it is, how it compares to CBTI, why people might be skeptical of it, and what I personally think of it. ACTI is short for Acceptance Commitment Therapy for Insomnia. It's a specific variation of acceptance commitment therapy tailored specifically for insomnia. The best way I can describe how it works is the following quote by Guy Meadows, who's the owner of Sleep School before they just recently went out of business. They were an ACTI-based program. It seeks to increase people's willingness to experience the condition, physiological and psychological discomfort commonly associated with not sleeping. And I'm going to stop right there because I already feel like I have people divided into two camps. The first camp is, this sounds interesting. The second camp says that sounds like ineffective bullshit. I'm going to speak to the people who automatically thought of it as bullshit because I was once one of you. And if I was not that sort of person, I probably would have saved myself about 5 years of insomnia. On the surface level, using words like acceptance sounds very trite. It's a massive reason why people are so skeptical of working with insomnia coaches because they're afraid they're just going to pay someone just in order to hear them say, just chill out, man. So I totally get that. Fortunately, putting this acceptance into practice is a bit deeper than that, and in my opinion, it is actually effective. I could speak to this in another video as to why this is the case, but the more I work with people with insomnia, the more I sincerely believe that acceptance is not a solution to insomnia, but really the solution to insomnia. The reason for that is because it's much more helpful to be at peace with the thoughts as opposed to trying to correct the thoughts. When we correct the sleep-related thoughts, how am I going to sleep tonight? What's going to happen if I don't sleep? Am I going to be able to perform my job tomorrow? Yada, yada. That can take a lot of effort. And effort and sleep do not really go hand in hand. That's what drives insomnia. So CBTI stands for Cognitive Behavioral Therapy for Insomnia and is considered to be the gold standard for insomnia treatment. The premise is that it is a very structured approach that aims to replace the negative association with bedtime and the bed with a healthier association that's more conducive to sleep. I personally used CBTI for a number of years when I was still dealing with insomnia. I think that it's a big step in the right direction, but it has some really strong shortcomings associated with it. There's a lot of rigidity involved in the CBTI approach that a lot of people suffering from insomnia don't find super helpful. For example, a common CBTI practice is sleep restriction, which involves going to bed at a very precise time. This can give people a lot of pressure and helps reinforce the unhelpful idea that we need to approach sleep perfectly. This is why you see people on the insomnia subreddit say over and over again that CBTI isn't particularly helpful for them. Now, for me personally, I really liked the rigidity of it. It felt clean and professional, almost surgical. So it felt like I was doing the right thing. However, at a certain point, it started being more unhelpful for me, even though I greatly benefited from CBTI initially. I started playing around with my sleep restriction time frame and tried to figure out the perfect time I should go to bed each and every single night. It became a game to play, kind of like how somebody else with insomnia might play around with how many supplements they should take on a given night. Now, at a high level, ACTI has the same objective as CBTI, to repair the poor relationship we've made with sleep and wakefulness. But ACTI is much softer in the way it actually goes about the treatment. I started looking into comparing the success rates of ACTI and CBTI and quickly found that it was going to be too complicated to put in this video, so that's going to be a video for another day, probably next week. When people start looking into ACTI, they see that mindfulness is a huge component of it. I think this can turn people off because they may feel like maybe there's a degree of skill involved. Maybe these people have had some experience meditating and found how difficult it was and maybe lost interest in mindfulness in general. At its core, I think it really comes down to disbelief over mindfulness being able to help somebody out with their insomnia. I mean, take a look at the diagram below I got from an ACT study. Granted, it's ACT and not specifically ACTI, but it looks pretty daunting and intimidating, doesn't it? it just looks like it's a lot of work for maybe a wishy-washy payoff. Additionally, like I said, I think that there's a fearful component that people have where they might think that they might start to second guess if they're approaching mindfulness right. So they start applying mindfulness, whether during the day or at night, and if sleep isn't happening right then and there, they might just say, did I do this right? Did I do this right? I hope I did it well enough. I use NATO, which stands for not attached to the outcome. This was the approach developed by Daniel Erickson over at the Sleep Coach School. Now, funny enough, when Daniel developed NATO, he did it independently of ACTI, right when ACTI started to gain traction. There are a lot of common core aspects between ACTI and NATO, and to be honest, they're so similar that I think either one would be fine. When I was going through insomnia, I never enrolled in an ACTI program. I just saw some insomnia content that was rooted in ACTI. I, however, prefer NATO because to me, it got me over my insomnia for good, and I found the explanations to make much more sense to me personally. I think having crystal clear, simple explanations of insomnia and what to do to be one of the more helpful things you can have to overcome insomnia. So when I coach my clients, I try to make it as grounded as possible without risking any sort of possible pie in the sky language. It works really well for the clients that work with me. I hope this was helpful for you. If it was, please feel free to do the usual like, comment, subscribe stuff. Here at Insomnia to Peace, I provide coaching services to driven people looking to overcome their insomnia for good.